Casey's farming on fifth generation land. He inherited the land from his parents, who were also farmers. They were farming pretty traditionally, like in that commodity wheat rotation of farming, which is like what you see most across the grasslands across like the Great Plains there. And so Casey studied theology. He like sort of left
Wow.
farming for a while, but then decided like and was like, I'm never gonna farm. But then of course, like a lot of awesome next gen farmers like came back and was like, no, this is like where I want to make an impact. I want to come back to the land and try to think about things slightly differently. And so Casey basically took over 5,000 acres of land and experimented for 10 years and tried to figure out how we could
Wow.
turn it back,
Wow.
turn it back to organic. Now he was lucky to kind of work under this group called Timeless Seeds, started by
Yeah.
guy Dave Owen, was like renegade farmers in the 70s that kind of like saw this early of like this first move into regen and
Legends.
creating
Legends.
value for cash crops that could then incentivize farmers to leave the security of commodity wheat. And so anyway, Casey was like under their umbrella and under their wing and learning from them, but also simultaneously just sort of testing ways to grow in his land differently. And he did a lot of like perennial rotations of alfalfa. And I remember him showing us on the farm where like deep taproot systems, like 15 feet deep of the alfalfa, just
Wow.
healing the soil after
Wow.
generations of just using the soil, tilling, farming. So
Mm.
he spent a lot of time just like on soil health. And then he started like sort of testing this choreography of a crop rotation. So at one point, I think he was growing up to 17 crops, blending, chickpeas,
Wow.
chickpea, obviously at the centerpiece, chickpeas at the centerpiece, but did lentils, did winter wheat, did flax, a lot of things that he brought into the rotation, and it was all a test, right? Like what works, what it could be co-planted, different seasons, extending seasons for himself. So I think he would explain it as like a 10-year giant experiment, and there wasn't
Yeah.
really a roadmap on how to do it. But it was pretty amazing to me when I saw the land. It was 45 minutes to drive across the land. Yet he managed it with two people, and that was just because like there was really just like ecology was working to his advantage, right? Like his like
Mm.
a team of could have been 10 more people was like the ecology was the other 10 people. And so it was him and his
Mm.
partner were like really managing this massive piece of land, and he had nature like working in tandem with him to make it really work at scale.